Hello, and welcome to Bronze Age Monsters, the show where we wade into the weirdest and wildest waters of the comic books of the 1970s. This season on BAM, we're covering the brief life of Atlas Seaboard Comics, the publishing venture of Martin Goodman that some say was a middle finger to Marvel and Stan Lee. Revenge is a dish best served in four colors. I'm Matt Howell.
I'm Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week. All right, Jacob, how you doing?
Doing good. I have an enormous drink, and I'm ready to swap war stories with you.
Why would you need an enormous drink for this week, by any chance?
Yeah. Well, anyone that has listened to previous seasons knows that one of our rules is that we have a celebratory drink anytime a Nazi dies, because that is a moment that gives to celebration. So I made myself a very big drink, and we will be sipping of that liberally tonight.
Yep. Here's to killing Nazis, as Brad Pitt would say. Are you ready? How did you feel about when you looked at the docket and saw that we were go back to World War II so soon after season 6? What were your feelings?
Weirdly enough, I think I actually called it correctly. Is that first when I saw that, I was just like, oh man. But then I was like, oh, it's Atlas. It's probably like corny and more golden age, and definitely more golden age. Well, for the backup stories, I don't know. I have things to say about Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad.
I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Thank God we have a show.
It comes in handy. It's our wives are happy about it.
Yeah. So I was when I was just making my initial notes for this, I was like, okay, GCD says this was published, hit the stands on December 17th of 1974. I was like, God damn, we're nearing the halfway point of the season. And right? I mean, doesn't that feel weird? I guess it was bi-monthly. Everything's bi-monthly, so
yeah,
it makes sense because I think they published their last thing in July, so it kind of makes sense. But I just felt like, God, we're still in December. Like we're not even 1975 yet. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I keep waiting for like the little like coming now in Atlas, that's in every issue, and you go to it and they're like on the stands, the Grim Ghost. And I was like, I don't think that's on the stand. That can't still be on the stands. No.
This is still officially the first wave of titles.
Oh, wow.
And again, I think we have to chalk it up to Martin Goodman being so hungry for revenge that he was just trying to flood the market and just trying to, right? I mean,
that's what he knows. That's what he does.
Yep. So, this is wave one, his first wave of carpet bombing of the comics industry. And it's still going on. And it feels like a long time.
Yeah.
But, we only had to drive 400 miles to get these comics. So that's pretty cool.
I keep thinking about that guy, man. I keep thinking about his decisions. I keep thinking about what his life was up until that point. Taunts me.
That's the thing that I keep trying to weigh too, is like Martin Goodman is cheap, kind of a huckster as far as like, publishers go or whatever, but like he wanted to do this thing, but he also was kind of, he's just opening his checkbook, just hemorrhaging money. But at the same time, their distribution was terrible, and most people couldn't find these books if they tried. It's so sad.
It did not go well.
It did not.
A lot of stuff went wrong at every single point in this venture. So
yeah. So as you might have gathered, folks, we're going back to World War II. Last season we did Creature Commandos. That was our last audio only season. And so Creature Commandos was published in the early 80s by DC Comics in Weird War Tales. And we had a good time with it. It's kind of a hodgepodge of different Universal monsters all put together into a science versions of themselves and sent in to take care of the Japanese and the Germans. And we met G.I. Robot, which was a highlight of us for that season, I thought.
It was.
We had a good time. We got to know who was the writer that wrote most of that stuff.
Bob Kanigher.
We got to know Kanigher very well. Maybe a little too well.
A little too well. I feel like I know like the depths of his soul and his brain after Creature Commandos. He let it all out.
Yeah, definitely. So we're here to dive back in, and we're going to talk about Savage Combat Tales featuring. Let's bring this back. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So you got those. We have these beautiful comics here. This is by the way, this is like a British TV.
Yeah.
3 issues is a really long run for Atlas Seaboard.
It is. My God, the ones that get to 4, I'm just like, oh my God.
It must have been picking him up and Larry Lieber up in a chair in the office and just kind of parading him around, right? Those crackers, party poppers.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Savage Combat Tales featuring Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad. And Jacob, I almost feel like this title, kind of in the same way we always reference Tim Burton's Ed Wood, like the ghoul goes west. I feel like sometimes Martin Goodman was just like, yeah, we got to have Savage Combat Tales. Like, sir, you know, the war ended 30 years ago. We are having a Savage Combat Tales, and it's all World War II, damn it. You know, like, just make him happy. He's cutting checks. Just...
Is it weird that we keep drawing Ed Wood parallels this season more than normal? Because we really do.
Yeah, I know. It does come up a lot, and I think it's probably justified and warranted.
Yeah, it fits.
Yeah. So, so I feel like the Savage Combat Tales was just Martin having 2 martinis and saying, we're going to have this, and this, and a Hulk. And so then, you know, the guys were like, all right, so I don't know, Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad. Does that sound like Sergeant Rock at all? You know, whatever, like what's actually selling, what do people actually want us to have the golden age? So we're here and we're back in World War II, Jacob. I don't know.
It's okay. I prefer this World War II to the Creature Commandos on its last legs. So
yeah, it was definitely an interesting mix towards the end there. So what we have here, as I said earlier, was published, Hit the Stands according to GCD on December 17th of 1974. It is cover dated February of 1975, so it's bi-monthly. And this cover is all Al McWilliams, pencils and inks. And my first thought when I saw this, Jacob, was, wow, there's lots of words. So if you're just listening at home, folks, we see the logo is a giant like shell casing, or I'm not a military guy. Okay. It looks like a bullet, but I'm sure it's a shell casing or something. And it says Sergeant Strykers, and there's a Death Squad in red below it. To the left is that Savage Combat Tales featuring we saw with a featuring banner, a scroll. And then a new banner, new exciting war adventures. And then there's a Nazi tank rolling up towards us, the viewer. It's about to run over a GI. And there's a guy in the foreground that we find out later, Sergeant Stryker himself, running away from the tank that is shooting at him. And bullets are hitting right near his feet. And he's diving towards the grenade and saying, I must reach that grenade. Nothing less will stop the Nazi tank. Nothing. Good perspective here, good dynamism. I feel like this is a classic, just perfect World War II comic book cover.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the layout, it is a really good, it's a really good view that we're getting. It's very classic. Yeah, this could be, Battlefield from the first Atlas era, and yeah, but you're right. Just like, and we've said this with the Grim Ghost, with Iron Jaw, one thing we do keep going back to is like, man, I wish they just had just the title and that's it. Because it looked so cool for the Grim Ghost, so cool for Iron Jaw. And something like this, you don't need anything. You just need Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad.
Yeah.
We don't need him saying, I must reach that grenade. I'm just like, no, I see that you're doing that.
Yeah, because the situation is pretty grim here. So... So I don't. We probably talked about this during the last season, Jacob. But what did we attribute, if we did, the enduring popularity of these comics up until the mid '80s, for Sergeant Rock at least, of World War II comics? I was looking at this thinking, God, it's 1975. Like, kids are still. The war ended 30 years before this, and then I started wondering, like, is this a kind of calling back to like, okay, well, at least in World War II, we knew we were the good guys. We knew who the bad guys were. Is this like a response to Vietnam? I guess what I'm saying, like a drawn out conflict that was not very popular domestically and went on for a crazy amount of time, was more than 10 years old at this point when this was published. Do you think this is kind of like a back, I wish we were back when we were fighting the bad guys, and it was pretty clear who the bad guys were. Or do you think that's just reaching?
I don't think it's reaching. I don't think anyone really knows. I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot of comic history stuff. Not saying I've read everything, but I don't know. I've never had the continuance of war comics explained to me in a way that makes sense. Aside from just, I don't know, war comics were always successful. I like war comics. I like the war comics from the Golden and the Atlas era. I think they're cool.
So, okay, that's fair. Before I ask for your full opinion on this, I just want to say it was also just kind of weird to be just being in 2025, picking up this issue to read and seeing a swastika on the cover of a magazine for 10-year-old boys. Mm-hmm. Because we are now at a point where influencers and streamers and whatever say the word Yahtzee as a stand-in for the word Nazi, because if they say Nazi and AI senses it, they'll get demonetized and they won't make any money talking on the internet. So we've reached a really weird place in our society where when we were the years we were born, it was pretty clear that Nazis were still the bad guys, and now it's kind of like should we be pointing fingers and calling names? Yes, we very much should be. Yeah. But we've gone to a really weird place, and it's strange. But every time, when this would happen on Creature Commandos too, even if the issue was really bad, we got to celebrate Nazi death with drink, and that always made my day significantly better. Oh, me too, without a doubt. So, do you have anything? My bottom line was, I think this is a pretty tight cover. I wish the top third wasn't all words. Maybe that's supposed to stand out in a drugstore rack or whatever, drugstore magazine shelf. But I love the bottom 2/3. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It seems like Savage Combat Tales is a weird afterthought because it doesn't really even fit. Like, it doesn't go with the layout. I just think it should have take everything out except Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad and New Exciting War Adventures. Take everything else out. I think it's a great cover.
And note to Matt in the future, Photoshop that for Jacob and then do a dissolve. Okay, so now you're seeing it. That's what it looks like without all the extra crap. Do you like it?
I love it.
All right, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I like that. Okay, so even on this opening page, it's Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad is kind of screamed at us in this really huge font above like a super crazy, awesome, illustration of Stuka bombing a village. It's really cool. It's a really cool opening page. It's just weird how big Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad is. And also the way that they made the cue, it almost is like a speech balloon, like that someone's yelling Death Squad.
Did you notice that throughout this entire issue, whenever everyone says anything with a Q in it, the whatever that's called is on the wrong side of the letter? Even I didn't notice it was in the title until just now. Like when they say HQ.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that Al McWilliams, who penciled and inked this, he's also credited for letters on GCD on this one. So he's the full package here. He's your guy.
Okay. He doesn't know how to make cues.
No, he does not.
And I when I opened the issue to read this the first time, I was like thinking back to Police Action, which we just said last episode, where it's like, why are you wasting a quarter of your splash page with Sam Lomax NYPD? And it's like they're not even. This is better than that one. Like that one felt just kind of janky and just like, do you need a ruler? Because I have a ruler. I can give you a ruler for these letters. Like they, just anyway.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The illustration itself is pretty great. I'll read the opening just because it kind of sets a scene for us. Opening narration is February 1943. Operation Torch is over. American forces have joined with the British and French in trapping Field Marshal Erwin Rommel's famed African Corps. But suddenly, unexpectedly, the Desert Fox counterattacks, and inexperienced U.S. troops reel in bitter defeat. Yet, in such moments, are legends born. Legends such as that of Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad. Then we are brought in. We see this is the village of Sidhu Rashid near the Kasserine Pass. And then we got the Stukas coming down. And it says at the bottom there, it says, and this is Ben Stryker, late of Prairie Mission, Kansas, scrambling for his life. And it's so funny. We get a tiny little credit at the bottom. It just says writer Archie Goodwin.
Yeah.
That's the only credit
Al
we
McWilliams.
get. No Al McWilliams at all. And Al did, like I was saying, he did, pencils, inks, and letters. Now, Al's been doing a lot of the art for Atlas. We've seen him multiple books now. And I just think that, I know we had talked about him before, but I thought it was interesting. Like, he kind of entered comics at a really, really early era. I think his first credits from Dell, Crack-a-Jack funnies.
Crack-a-Jack.
Crack-a-Jack. And that's cover dated December of 1938. And it's a story called Captain Frank Hawk's Air Ace. So, yeah, the very first thing he did was a war comic.
Damn. Yeah,
So
I was looking his credits up. He's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's done incredible stuff for decades and decades. And so he was in World War II. He enlisted on October 1st in 1942. He was decorated. He had a lot of medals, Bronze Star. But for some reason, they were just like, his stories kept being published when he was in World War II. So I think he had a nice little backlog. And he was working for Quality at that point too, I think. And he got out in 1946 and he went on to work for Quality and National and Everyone. And then he kind of gets to us in 1975. And he's still doing good work.
Yeah. I've been enjoying his stuff.
Yeah.
And this Atlas stuff.
And Archie Goodwin, it made me think, like, I was trying to remember. It's not, I know it's probably happened so far this season, but it's not often that a writer stays the same for all the issues.
Oh, yeah.
That's not common.
He did. Yeah, wow. I did.
Well, honestly, the art team, Alan McWilliams is, for at least the Sergeant Stryker story, Alan McWilliams does all the art. So the creative team for the main character of the book does not change. And I don't know if that's going to happen again.
I mean, wasn't that the case with Police Action and Sikowski and McWilliams?
Yeah, that's true. Sikowski. Yeah, did Sikowski do the last one? He wrote the last story?
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I couldn't remember, but yeah, it doesn't happen often. Normally, we have Gary Friedrich coming in like a boss and fixing everything. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. I think the last time we saw Archie Goodwin he was writing Destructor.
Yeah,
and I mean, we've talked about him many times over the years on this show. He's just, everyone loves him. No one has a bad thing to say about him. He does great work.
So I actually had to pull him up, though, when I was reading this again. The second time, I was like, wait a minute. Because, there's a lot of very intensive, gear specific, these types of jets, these types of cannons. And I was like, this doesn't seem like his wheelhouse. I associate him with creepy and I mean, he's done everything, but so I had to look him up and just why, how was he so, I didn't peg him as a war geek guy. But then I saw that he had taken over for Julie at DC, editing GI Combat, Our Fighting Forces, and Star Spangled War Stories for a couple of years. So he must have learned a lot in those 2 years, because this stuff is littered with very specific inside baseball Army stuff.
Yeah, no, he just seems like a guy, every little editing gig he got, he just seemed to draw everything good in that he can take somewhere else. So I don't know. Yeah, the guy seems like an incredible writer, an incredible person to work with and collaborate with. So
gone way too soon, by the way.
Yeah,
he died. He was 60 or 61 or something like that. Just like he said,
and
he consistently referred to as the nicest editor in the history of comics or whatever. There's some quote that gets thrown around all the time about him. So anyway, shall we?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, cool. So yeah, we jump right in the action here after that splash, and we saw the guy in the front saying Andy, and then we see him diving in. Andy, you all right? He's going into this ruined building, and the kid says, "Hey, over here, Ben. Me and the lieutenant are fine." They're trying to ring up for some support, some backup. And the kid says, "But I sure wish somebody'd remind those Jerrys they're supposed to be finished in North Africa." And the guy says, "What's the situation outside, Stryker? Haven't been able to raise battalion on this thing." And he explains that they think this whole thing is like them just battering this small town and softening them up for some big, even bigger attack. And they want to get everyone to the perimeter for defense. They'll need every man. And the guy says, "Well, there's 4 prisoners down in the cellar. We got them on hold, for a convoy to go back. They're going to be court-martialed. And they'll round up those prisoners to force them to join in this effort against the Nazis." And he says, "Come on, Andy, come with me," and he's like, "We'll skirt around the edge of town where the fire is a little bit, softer." And he's like, "Oh, Ben, don't you ever get tired of nursemaiding me?" So we get this nice little dynamic here of like, this is obviously the kid to him, and he's got him under his wing so far. And yeah, nothing spectacular here, but I do like just the art's amazing through this whole thing. I was super impressed with the art. So there's things I love about the story that are coming up, but even when it's just straight up action, it's just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was, we've had Al McWilliams before on here at least once, and when I saw this art, I was just like, oh, okay, he's doing something that he knows and still seems to love.
Yeah,
because man, the art on a lot of these pages is just so good, and it's very evocative of that of that Atlas era. It reminds me a little bit of like, Joe Manili in Battlefield Atlas era stuff, and yeah, I think it's just, I've read quite a bit of that stuff, and so opening this up and seeing this, I was just like, oh, okay, all right, I get it. Like Goodman asked for this, and he was given exactly what he asked for. Yeah,
and I'm loving his inks and just his art in general. But this left panel here, like that's almost like the Ben's. If I know it's Ben Stryker, him looking towards the guy with the phone, like I see Toth, I see Giffen. Like it's just a very elegant, simple, clean line that's like understated and it's not doing too much work. Right, just the folds in the backpack, everything's very kind of Tothy, and that I see anything that makes me think of Toth, I immediately love it. So I was into it from this point on.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. Next page, we get the title of our story. So down there it says, "Yet the horrors of yet has just begun. Horrors such as only war is witness to. Horrors to shake any men, all men, to change them and cause them to be reborn in battle." And yeah, we get kind of it's funny. It's almost like a different angle of the first splash page that was in here, which I thought was a little different, but cool. I like this page better than I liked the first page.
Me too.
Art-wise, it's amazing.
But it's another one of those waste of a bottom quarter to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it was weird. I thought that was a little clunky. Like I think if it didn't have Sergeant Stryker's, if it didn't have the giant like title of the book on the first page, if it was just, one of those weird kind of cold opens or something, that you don't quite. Yeah, I like that stuff. You like that stuff, but this just seems kind of like, oh, all right, we get another thing.
Yeah, it feels like filling pages. I don't know if that's what people are doing because they're, I always when we've talked about what the page rates were and stuff like that, I just feel like people are just like Homer when he's asking Mr. Burns for bowling league money, like he's dying or doped up or something.
Something. Yep. When he's on the he's on the ether. Goodman's been on the ether, and they're like, just let's go.
Oh man, yeah, but this is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and so again, it's a giant little house being just blown to pieces, and those were So we get that Andy, obviously from last page, realize it's his It's his girlfriend's little brother is Andy of Ben. And again, they kind of like establish that. He says, just because I'm your girlfriend's little brother doesn't mean, oh my God, Ben, the lieutenant. And then boom, and then, Ben's like, and 4 others, Andy, don't forget those poor devils trapped in the cellar. This page is giving us the only 3 things we need to know. Really. Yep. Ben, Andy, their bio. Oh, there's 4 guys. We're going to find out more about them later.
Yep. Very efficient storytelling from Archie.
It's all the elements right there.
Yes. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to try not to dwell too much on these pages because I feel like I want to say the spirit of the story, which moves along at quite a clip. Mm-hmm. So let me know if I'm babbling too much. So Andy pulls up a rifle, pow, pow, pow. He's pissed off. He's reacting because that guy that was just on the phone calling for backup just blew up. Dirty stinking buzzards. He's like, hey, put that down, Andy. That won't help, Let's join the rest of the company. And then Ben's running along and he sees a dead woman with like a robe on in the ruins of a blown up building. And we get this beautiful like little push in on him and then a flashback. And this is where my heart melted and I was completely like, okay. I'm not the biggest war comics fan, but let's do a little bit of diving here. Mm-hmm. So we see a flashback, and there's a young Ben, and there's his dad, and his dad's saying, Ben, hold the light higher, Ben, steady. And his dad's sewing something up, and he's like, can you do it, Dad? Save Mrs. Engstrom? And then we cut back to Ben, and he's remembering. I just love this whole the ethos and the compassion and everything that this character is given from the get-go. And then we see cut forward in the flashback, his dad saved the baby and the mother. Says there's nothing more sacred in this world than human life. Mother and baby both alive. So just a great origin for like this guy's position and his attitudes. And then we cut back and he's looking at that dead woman again. He's out of his reverie. And he says, Lord, Dad, what am I doing here? And he says, hey, Ben, there's Sergeant Bloom. Striker, kitten, find a spot on the double. So this page was when I immediately, I liked the art. I was like, okay, boom, boom, bang, bang, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw a flashback and saw them talking about the sanctity of human life. And I was like, ooh, really?
Yep. That is exactly how I felt. I'm like, cool, war comic. And I'm like, oh shit, Archie Goodwin. Okay. Now this is making more sense. But look at those two, just the 2 panels of just him. And it's not a stat. I mean, they're very different, but just in minor little ways. But it's just him really thinking back. It was so effective. Everything about that little flashback. That is 4 panels. And powerful. 2 of them it's so powerful. It's crazy good storytelling. Like those 4 panels are like, goddamn, like that I just kept going back to that. It was just so beautiful and well done. Yeah.
And, I love the first panel of this page, the negative space of Andy cracking off, and there's just white background, and they're kind of stepping out of the gutter, over the gutter a little bit. I mean, that's just technical stuff that I always geek out on. But what you're talking about, that middle row is like, oh my gosh, okay, we got something powerful happening here.
Yeah. No, I was so excited, just like you were on this after this page. I was like, cool, okay, all right, I think I'm in. So this next page, the opening panel, German paratroopers are just like peppering the sky. And again, what a hell of a panel there. I know, you're right. We're going to have to just like not do that for 10 times a page, but it's really hard. Like Al McWilliams is killing it this issue. Everything he does is so good. And it just gets better.
Yeah, that first panel, I was just like, oh, this isn't my thing, but I love this.
Oh man, it's so cool. And but yeah, Andy's talking to Ben, being like, I hear those German paratroopers are vets, Ben. They're combat elite. And so, but he tells Ben that he found an old revolver, and it's a .45 revolver from World War I. And so Andy's pretty stoked about that. And then, but he's still worrying about him. And then again, we see that kind of push into Ben's face. And then we get 2 more panels of flashback. You know that some storytellers will spend like a page or 2 on a flashback and have it not be weird. But how fucking awesome is this? We see Lori, Andy's sister. And so it's Lori and Ben. And she's like, darling, it's like the world is falling apart. You drafted Andy enlisting. And then, we get down to the next panel, and he's like, well, with Hitler in Europe, Pearl Harbor bombed, I guess we're needed, all right. But then so we realize this is carried on to his adulthood, to where he's like, how can I do it, Lori? Fighting, killing other human beings. And she said, or being killed, Ben. Promise you'll take care of yourself, of Andy. Promise you'll both come back to me. And then, boom, we're right up in present time again. And those elite troopers are coming up over the ridge, and Andy starts shooting.
God damn. I mean, the sweetheart back home, that's a pretty standard flashback for any war film, any war story or whatever. But like this thing on the left here, where it's just like, Anytown, USA, you can you almost hear the fucking crickets and the cicadas just roaring off in the distance, and they're sitting on the porch in the moonlight, and it's just gorgeous. But like you said, just this extension of that was not an outlying event when he was a kid. Like, he's grown up respecting human life and essentially being a pacifist, even if he wouldn't necessarily call himself that, Yeah, and then like just these whiplashes, you get these cool borders and all that, which is a standardized thing, cool borders on the flashback to indicate that it's a flashback. But then he's in dire straits right now, just getting his head yanked out of this thing, just being like, It's almost like he's like unstuck in time, but it's like unstuck in memory or like consciousness. And they're about to be overrun with these paratroopers. So, yeah. All right. So, they're laying into him. Pow! We get every sound effect of every weapon ever made. There's some dead Nazis.
Ooh, there's a bunch of dead Nazis drinking of that.
And then we see that Ben is laying on the ground. He's steadying his rifle with his hand. He's saying, I can't shoot. I just can't. And there's literally a bullet hitting right in front of his chest, like 6 inches further, and it would take his heart out. And he's still not firing back. So this is not cowardice. This is not, hesitancy. This is a firm stand that he really believes in. And then we get another flashback. He's in boot camp. Holy Stryker, I've been in this outfit since the last war and never saw shooting like that. Who taught you? My dad. A small town doctor in the Depression was mighty poor. We had to be good hunters to help keep food on the table. Well, it's made you a natural, son. I hope not, Sergeant Bloom. My dad also taught me there's a difference between shooting game for supper and killing in cold blood. I got the chills when I first read that. I was like, oh my God. I know. It's just so cinematic and it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, that sentiment. And I'll call back to this later, but in the backup story, there's almost a parallel, the opposite, like Shadow Lodge version of like this, like explaining the Depression, like things were tough during the Depression, so this is why I am the way I am. And it's almost like the stark contrast. Like Ben Stryker came out of the Depression respecting life and valuing, the human experience. And this other guy we're going to meet later is the antithesis of that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I didn't realize that, but yeah, Wade is the shadow self of Ben.
The anti-Ben.
He is the anti-Ben.
So I did not quite understand this point, Jacob. This is my only beef with this issue. This Baroom, that's Ben flying back, right?
Yeah, that's Ben, because Andy's like, Ben, what?
That he seems to be okay after. That just seems like that would be, you'd be deaf. You'd probably have some second and third degree burns. Like, am I not understanding what is this? Is that that was tank?
Is right? It right? It's like I didn't quite understand that. Maybe it was a grenade that just like exploded like kind of further away from him, so it's just knocking him back. But yeah, I didn't understand that too. The mechanics of that didn't make sense, and it's a very small kind of quibble about the art for this issue. Yeah,
the only thing that I didn't like about the story was that moment where I was like, okay, that seems like that'd be a more severe injury. You probably wouldn't walk away from that quite so easily, but whatever. And then they say, tank, everybody back, pull back to better cover. So they're fucked. So the elite troopers are there, and now a tank is rolling in. So it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, it is. Yeah, the tension is being ratcheted up. I mean, you and I have talked about this. You're right. I mean, cinematic is not. Sometimes I can't think of another word, even though it's not. Like, comics are not cinematic. Like that's kind of, it's a very different thing. But with something like this, it is a perfect word, because it is, the storytelling is so classic and epic and widescreen, and it just seems like, everything about this, as the story went further on, the flashbacks really solidified how much I liked Ben Stryker. And then, just the storytelling in general. It's just fucking top notch. So next page. So we realize that their Sergeant Bloom, gets blown away by these Nazis. So Ben kind of turns back and is just like, Sergeant Bloom. He's like, Andy, give me a hand. Drag him to shelter. Then the sergeant's like, no, too late, Stryker. Take over for me. You can do it. Everyone else too green. But you're the natural. And then, he dies. So that's the sergeant of this squad. He's dead. Ben's like, you've got to be wrong, Sergeant. I haven't even fired at the enemy. I don't even know if I can. But then he sees a bunch of the soldiers up there by this house. And he's like, no, don't bunch up in one building. Scatter before. And then blam. And so that whole, that whole building is destroyed yet again. And a bunch more of the soldiers die. He says, dear Lord, no, every last man. Andy, oh God, Andy. So he doesn't know where his girlfriend's little brother is. So he's terrified.
So what was his rank at the start of the story? Do we know?
I don't know.
A private?
I would assume he's just a private. I honestly don't know enough about that to.
I don't either, but I mean, here aren't we seeing like a metaphorical, like he takes the dead sergeant's helmet and he's putting on because he doesn't have protective headgear, but in effect he is becoming Sergeant Stryker, right?
Yeah,
he's gonna get promoted to this or whatever, but he's like, I can't lead these men, I can't even, and then bam, a bunch of men die because he didn't act, and now he's putting the helmet on, going, you over there, get over there, he just like immediately takes charge because he's saving lives.
Yep. And that is exactly what Sergeant Bloom knew. That's why he knew that he would be the best choice. And he was. Guess what?
Yep. So he's acting up as sergeant right now, even though he's not that rank. But just like he said, just this escalating tension, all these every oh shit moment, like every other panel was an oh shit moment. So this got pretty intense here. It's gonna keep staying intense here. And he says, here, Ben, dropping my 45 running, had to cut back for it. Lucky, huh? He's picking up that gun he traded, somebody for. Like I keep saying, you worry about me for nothing. So his girlfriend's little brother just got cut down by the Nazis. And this row here of Ben just flop, sweat, panic, the desert heat, just sweating bullets. And then every other panel is a flashback to his girlfriend. Promise you'll take care of yourself, Andy, or yourself and Andy. And then we see the tank tracks rolling towards Andy's dead hand as he's holding that 45. And then Ben's just starting to hold his hands in his face. And then that's just playing on a loop. Take care of Andy. Take care of Andy. Take care of Andy. And then the tank rolls over his corpse.
Yep.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I was not interested in reading a war comic at this point in time, but I was totally into this at this point. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's everything that a good war comic is, it makes you think, it makes you really feel, it makes you realize, the horrors of war. This especially though, like this, I'm shocked that did you find much about this title? There was hardly anything. I don't think there was one real mention in that CBA issue.
I didn't check that, but like I just checked people's blogs who do write-ups about Seaboard over the last 20 years, and it's barely mentioned.
Yeah, it is not mentioned at all, which once I finished this, I was like, whoa, I don't understand why this isn't mentioned. I don't get it. Because this moment should be mentioned in those like, oh shit, like this is pretty brutal. Golden Age war comics, they got this brutal, but postcode, this was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and the brutality cut with the tragedy of the making that vow to his girlfriend and everything. Like, I mean, it's not just Rovan saying let's push the boundaries a little bit. It's also got story behind it, so it's like even more impactful.
So I think that Al McWilliams on that second panel of Linda, that's her name, right? Linda or Laura?
Lori.
Okay. Lori, that's right. Of Lori, I think his reference is Hedy Lamarr.
Oh, thank you. I could not think of the name. I think it is too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know who she is. That's and I just did that for 30 seconds and then moved on.
Yeah.
I think it's Hedy Lamarr also. Headley,
sorry. I get so corrected on that.
isn't that Blazing Saddles?
Yeah, that's
Headley
Blazing
Lamarr?
Saddles.
Okay. It's like, I don't remember which one it was. Okay. So he says he snapped back again. He says, I let you down, Lori, you and Andy. Can't bring him back, but somehow I'll make it up. If it takes the whole war, going to start by stopping that tank, but I'll need more than this carbine. And so he's looking around the post where they first were, and he finds something there, a bazooka, a grenade, something, and he's like, then he hears voices from the basement. No use, nothing budges. Keep at it, musclehead, or we'll all suffocate. So then he probably just now remembers, like, oh my God, that's right. Before that building blew up, there were 4 guys that were going to get court-martialed locked up in the basement. I'd forgotten about them at this point. I was like, oh, that's right. We need a death squad.
Yeah, I thought that was, but yeah, even that last panel there, we kind of like the mist is still kind of coming from the explosion, and but honestly, that middle row of panels on that page is that's the winner of the issue for sure.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, next page. So Ben realizes that the prisoners are still alive in the cellar, and he uses a grenade to blast them out. And so I love it. Then we get a whomp. And then we meet our death squad coming out. It was great. So one of them's like, son of a gun, no wonder that door give me trouble. Somebody left a building on top of it. That's Turk. Turk's got a good opening line. Yeah. Yep. And then it says, one of them's like, well, you can thank the guy who took it off, Turk. I'm going to be kind of busy getting my tail out of this war. And so they're all out there, and they're probably just like, oh shit, we're free. We were going to be court-martialed. Like, we might have even been executed, but now we're free. Cool. But then we get Ben just immediately comes in as a sergeant. He's like, sure, you could run, but it'd be straight into the Jerry's, and they're not taking prisoners. Might be best to throw in with me. There's a tank to get. And so, yeah, you can imagine, like, if you came out of this place, the cellar, if you're blown out by a grenade from the cellar and you come out, there's Ben Stryker saying this to you. You're like, all right, man, hell yeah, let's do this.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So yeah, it was pretty. I love that part of what it made me laugh. But yeah, the Death Squad. I was trying to figure out, because McWilliams does a lot of not photo reference stuff, but we'll definitely photo reference stuff, not like photo or anything, but especially his Death Squad. I'm curious. I was curious if you had any guesses.
No, I didn't even think of that, except for Shemp Howard is ice, obviously. I couldn't think of anybody else. No.
Cool.
William Holden as Duke.
Yeah. All right, I can see that.
Wrong era, but if we have a time machine. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
So Turk's like, well, it's gone now. Here comes that son of a gun. I was trying to imagine like his accent, like if he's an American or if he's like a like second generation. I don't know. He seemed like some kind of Russian. He's a Turk, obviously, but he feels like he has some like cool accent that I just couldn't put my finger on the whole time I was reading it out loud.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're saying, hey, well, you're in charge. Any bright ideas? Are we going to take on a tank with a carbine? And he's like, well, we can go and find ourselves some weapons, liberate weapons. And so we get this great little sequence in the middle here where we get to see the guys doing their little A-team thing. Like when we meet them. So it's Lee Shigeta, judo expert, and he's flipping a dude. Duke Ripley. Oh, judo. Shit.
Judo.
I missed that, guys. We drink on their judo. Duke Ripley, circus acrobat. This shit-eating grin. Face. Whatever his second, I was like, oh my god. Turk Ankrum, pro wrestler, and then Ice Marco gangster. And I laughed out loud at that last panel too, because it's like, okay, let's show their skills. He can do judo. He can do circus stuff like Robin. This guy can smash dudes' heads together. This guy can shoot guys in the back like a gangster.
Yep. Knocks him to the down on the ground, shoots him in the back of the head. That is. Yeah, it's shorthand.
Oh my god. So Ice has that's the gangster. Ice has decided he likes that gun. And he's like, not bad. You know, the others risk their necks for their hardware. I just found this one on the ground because next to Andy's crushed corpse. And Ben grabs his wrist, like, find something else, Ice. There's a prior claim on this pistol. And so they're armed now, and it's time to take on that tank and that veteran paratroops that were doing that sweep around the town, the remains of the town.
So so I'm already really enjoying myself at this point when I'm reading this. And, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be a heavy, issue drink-wise because, we have lots of dead Nazis. And then I got to this and I was like, fuck, we would have had judo every issue too, like maybe multiple times. Maybe as someone's getting thrown through a plate glass window. So that's a lot of drinks by our rules.
Yeah, I just throughout the whole run of this thing, anytime these guys did anything, I just heard like dun 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 dun. Like it's very, very like, whatever that is. Is that Dirty Dozen? I don't know what that's. Great Escape, something. But
yeah, no, but that 4 panel just as again the economical storytelling, just the 4 of them. You're just like, yep, I get it.
Look at Turk's expression. He loves his job.
He does. He loves it so much. Oh, goddamn. Again, another page I just fucking loved. And so, okay, so the squad takes the, I love it. So all that first panel of them just unloading on this tank. And one of the guys pop out. It's like, Was ist? I mean, bad German, Matt.
Dead German and bad German.
Dead
2
German
drinks.
and bad 2 drinks. All right.
All right. Thank God this is only 3.5%.
Yeah. And then, oh my God, my great panel, one of them jumps up to the German that just said, Was ist? And yeah, just puts a machine gun in his face and pulls the trigger. Okay. Do you think that the code might have pushed back on that panel and they changed it?
The burp one?
Yeah.
That would not surprise me. I can almost see Jeff saying, like, this is, get in one really violent Nazi death in here. And then they're like,
they're like,
redraw that Nazi. Put his head back on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, but just awesome. And then, Ice is ready. And Ben's like, Ice, no grenades. I want this machine in working order. And then Ice is, you can see he's the guy that's kind of going to give Ben a little lip. He's like, and maybe gift wrapped while we're at it, Stryker. So the banter has started. And,
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
This panel on the right, am I saying this right? Is someone holding a machine gun in the slit and just killing Nazis inside of the tank?
Okay. Right? Okay, I think that's what's happening. Okay, I'm glad you pointed this out because I had forgotten about that. But the first time I read this, I was like, okay, that is what's happening, right? Because that's what the red and orange like fire is in the middle there.
Yes, he's putting it inside the visibility slot and just spraying back and forth in the tank, just killing Germans. And I love the capper. Before we drink that, the capper is that Ice had a grenade. He was going to drop it in and just blow up the dead body.
Yeah. These guys are the fucking death squad. I do love it. I do love that had this really gone on, that I would want them to just kind of be more and more brutal in a way, and have Ben try to wrangle them and try to teach them. But this is them unchained. This is them just coming right out of the cellar and immediately just going into ultra murder mode.
Yeah, and as a pilot or whatever, right, to establish the premise of this book, like a pacifist who has been kind of thrust into the position of leading a pack of killers is a great dramatic conflict, right? Just friction of like, we need to stay alive. but I don't want to. I want to preserve life whenever possible, but I also have a bunch of potential prisoner court-martial psychopaths that are under my command. So it's a very fun premise. It has a lot of gas in the tank. I tell you that.
It does.
Is that the end of the page? Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. No, you had one more.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Ben's like, check the street ice. Germans' perimeter forces coming in. They're going to be bad news, even with this tank. And I like that he's like, okay, who can handle this cannon? And Shkuda says, I have had small experience with American armor, Sergeant. And then he gets up, and of course, he's the expert. And we'll see on the next page.
Oh my God. So one thing I was confused about, we find out later that he is Nisei, right?
He is Nisei, yes.
So what do you know what the policy was on internment camps? I thought that even Nisei were often interred. Was there a reason where you could say, well, not my family because of X, Y, or Z that would account for him not being in a camp on the West Coast?
It's a really good question. I don't quite know the answer to.
Okay. I wanted to research it, but I didn't have time.
No.
But I do love this character. Okay. So, an enemy vehicle becomes a fortress, and rat-a-tat-tat, burp, blam, burp, rat-a-tat-tat-tat. And we just see a shit ton of Nazis getting torn in half.
From all angles, all the way around the...
Drink to that also. Okay. And then it's a fortress that holds, and he says, Turk says, hey, son of a gun, there ain't no more of them. We won. And he doesn't see a German soldier rising up on the collapsing wall of a building, and then crack right there. Just like Andy in Twin Peaks, right?
Yep.
Saving Harry. It's like, Lord, Dad, I've slain my first man. Now I'm a killer. So Ben has essentially fallen from his state of grace of being a non-killing, a pacifist person, and he did it to save a fellow soldier's life. And Duke says, it's all over, and we're still alive and kicking. Know what that means? We started out as jailbirds today, but now, believe it or not, we're blasted heroes. And we see Ben on the side, sitting next to the soldier he just killed, holding Andy's gun, saying, war, what a thing. It seems to have turned these four into better men. But what about me? Have I become worse? But there's no easy answer to Ben Stryker's grim question, only an uncertain future. And where next issue, the Death Squad earns its name, as if they didn't just earn it.
They totally just earned it. They earned it. Just look up.
Yeah. So yeah, this was meant to be the feature story. I believe it's 12 pages every issue of its run. And there was a backup that Archie Goodwin wrote, and different artists would step in and do. And Alex Toth did one in the set. Well, we'll save that for the end. But yeah, so there is a backup that is unrelated, anthology style World War II story that occurs every issue. So we'll dive into that one, unless you want to do thoughts here. Should we save them for the end? Yeah,
let's save them for the end.
Okay.
So, all right. So our next story is Bounty, and cast creators Archie Goodwin, Jack Sparling, Al Kupperberg, letterer, Larry Lieber, editor. So we've talked about Jack Sparling before. We've talked about him not that long ago. He was mostly a strip guy, but yeah, by the 70s he was working on the DC horror books, licensed stuff for Dell. Yeah, because we talked about him before, because I was just like, the Adam 12 comics.
Yep.
So, yeah, Jack Sparling wasn't that many issues ago that we actually, talked about him. So, Matt, you brought up a really good point at the beginning there. This really is the inverse. This is Ben's Black Lodge counterpart that we're going to meet in this story. Someone, who has no morals. And so, Sparling's a great artist, and this is a really cool opening page of this group of flying tigers. Did you know much about the flying tigers?
No, I just have question marks after all these names and all these things.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of this stuff.
I'd look it up. I mean, the flying tigers they were called the First American Volunteer Group, and they were actually part of the Republic of China Air Force.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay. That makes a
so
lot of
so
sense.
they were formed. So they were basically just like military, but also civilian pilots from like the Army Air Corps and different places. And they all had these Curtiss P-40B Warhawks, their aircraft, and they had like Chinese colors on them, but they were under American control. And so their mission was to bomb Japan and defend the Republic of China. And so that's where the story that we are about to read is on, and we'll meet one of them.
I definitely was piecing out through context clues, like the situation that you just described, but I did not look it up. But yeah, okay. Now that you've said it, like it's like, okay, now solidifies the entire story here. 'Cause this was new to me. I didn't know anything about this part of history.
Yeah, I knew a little bit, but yeah, researching it. Yeah, so the bounty's real too. Like that was a real deal.
Wild.
So yeah, so these were just like, yeah, these were the insane pilots. And the one that we're gonna meet is who's flying out of that sun saying, start writing that bonus check.
God damn. So this explains how, like, some of these were civilians, he said. So, like, this explains why, like, some of their actions, like, normally get busted down for, or court-martial or whatever, they're just kind of saying, well, what are you going to do? Right? Like, they're free agents, essentially, right? They're just, like, being paid by the Chinese government to be civilian Air Force.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, they're part of the Chinese Air Force, basically.
Oh, okay. Fucking A.
But also they can just,
weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's but they were kind of in before Pearl Harbor, but it took long enough for them to get started that their first mission happened, I think, right after Pearl Harbor.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. This art. Whew.
Yeah,
I like
so
Starling,
cool.
But both of these artists in these two stories clearly love drawing this technical stuff, and it really shows.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that. Like if I and I mean, no shade at all to Joe Kubert and Bob Koeniger, who are still doing great work, and even up into the 70s on war comics. But I think this issue as a whole, it can absolutely hold its own against whatever war comic is on the fucking stands right now.
Yep.
And I don't want to, I'm just going to say, so I don't forget, but I don't know if we're going to be able to say that for any other Atlas comic, honestly.
Yeah. I think if this had been in every newsstand around the country, this might have actually sold. Should have.
Yeah, it absolutely should have. But yeah, we meet the Dick Wade, who's says Uncle Wade's got another meatball in his sight, and you can hear one of his commanders saying, Jessup, stay with your wingman, you. And then there's a lot of the asterisk pound sign kind of cursing in this one, which I thought was funny. You don't run into that a lot.
Yeah, you don't. Which makes sense, right? I like when they at least kind of try and get some verisimilitude, like. Soldiers swear a lot because it's a high pressure, intense situation. So
yeah,
at least acknowledge the fact that it's bleeped. But like the starburst, whoever coming out of the sun, these it's just amazing, the perspective here, and like just seeing this guy peel off and just being like, oh hey, another meatball.
God,
Wade Jessup. All right, so yeah, we get to meet this dude here. He says, sorry, flight leader, I didn't get that. You're coming through garbled. So, again, this is like I was just saying, Jacob, like, wouldn't this guy get completely, thrown in the clink for some of this stuff? But it's like, oh, well, maybe not, because it's not the U.S. military. It's a different military, different standards, perhaps. I don't know. But, so he doesn't care. And he's got other fish to fry. He blows up this one of those planes. Wade Jessup follows the black spiral of smoke that marks the bomber's death plunge, and he watches the plane explode in the mountains, noting its location for future reference, grunting his satisfaction as it flares against China's soil until he finds the bomber has an escort. So, he obviously is insubordinate, selfish, and just does whatever he wants without any regard for anybody else. Established very quickly in just one quick action.
Mm-hmm.
Archie.
Goddamn, Archie. So yeah, the Zero is bearing in on him. And his wingman catches up, gets the guy, saves him. But then, the Zero's climbing out of safety. And Zero's gone. And so then, as we're say, never catch that speedy so-and-so now. Anyway, flight leader signal and return to base. He says, not a bit too soon, Stoney. My oil pressure's fallen fast. So he was hit. And so he realizes then, that Zero tagged your oil line, Wade. And he's like, right, engine freezing up on me already. Looks like all the boys at Cunning Field are going to be treated to another one of my daredevil landings. So, I can imagine he's, because he's a guy who doesn't give a shit. And so he's going to go in, he's going to, get shot a bunch. This was probably not the first plane he's crashed.
Yeah.
And they have finite planes, as they will say.
Yep. But he has no skin in the game, right? So
he didn't care.
This is how he behaves. So for me, my note at this point, Jacob was like, the Zero's 20 millimeter cannons and 7.7 millimeter machine guns, pound, blah, blah, blah. Colonel Claire Chenot has taught him the P-40's best feature at speed and a dive. It's like, who is this for? Like, I can almost see my grandpa reading this, but
it's a lot of,
he was like 50.
A lot of references. No, Claire Lee Chenot was the leader of the Flying Tigers, and so he, will show up. This is all real shit. The planes they fly, the bounty, their leader, this is all very real shit that happened.
Yeah. This for me is the stuff where I don't engage as much when it's like the plane's doing this thing and then he's letting the engine stall out and he's doing this roll and then he does this thing and it's just like, I don't know anything about this stuff. Where like when you have a Ben Stryker and like a human thing, I immediately lock into it on that level. This stuff, I follow it, but I don't engage with it as much, and I'm not as excited about that stuff personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I have a harder time following like the technical aspects of like a dogfight or something like that.
Yeah.
Unless like a Frankenstein is going to jump out of a plane onto another plane and just start punching Nazis in the face, that I can follow.
What if he jumps on a bomb?
Yet lives. Okay, so we cut to that field. Sure enough, he does pretty much total this plane as he lands it. Jessup, fucking plane's a wreck. The guy's jumping out of a Jeep. Yeah, you know what they say, flight leader. Any landing you can walk away from is a good one. He's peeling off his little leather flight cap. Like, not when the Tigers only have about 50 operational aircraft at any given time. That Zero scored on you because you were too busy pinpointing where your kill went down. So we have to find out here why he was so concerned about that. I love that he's lighting up this just like filthy looking cigar or whatever. Again, and like another Groucho Marx cheroot.
Mm-hmm. It looks all crumbled.
Yeah. It always makes me think of every time I see something like this, I always think of like The Jerk when the Mexican dudes roll up in the gas station. Mm-hmm. And he's like smoking a joint. And like Steve Martin's like, what kind of cigarette is that? It's a joint. They don't make them very good.
Yeah.
So Jessup's like, yeah, you bet I was. The Chinese government pays a $500 bounty for every Japanese plane, but only if they can find the wreckage. So now we get his motivations and why he acts the way he does. He's like, we're fighting a war, Jessup, not guaranteeing your Calcutta bank account gets fat on blood money. I thought that was another thing. It was like, Calcutta bank account. Okay. Apparently that's what the Chinese government used to pay soldiers.
Right. He's putting in so many details.
It's just loaded with info. He's like, yeah, speak for yourself here. I plan to come out of this with more than warm handshakes from the local coolies. Like, you're coming out with a fat lip. So this guy's like every one of us reading this, like,
punch just like,
in the face,
please fucking punch him in the face. And so, we're like, okay, cool. He's going to get it. But then no, he's good at punching too. Yeah. He says, he swings around and just decks the guy. Says, I outshoot and outfly everybody in the squadron. You think it'd be different when it came to out punching? And then I'm just like, I really want to punch you now.
Yeah.
But then, and he's just like, someone's like, how can you be a wingman to that crud, Stoney? And he's like, well, he is one of the best. I guess I kind of respect that in spite of everything else. But then, later on, back at headquarters, And they're just like, I love that Wade's just kicking back. He's just got his feet up on the table. He's still smoking and drinking. And Stoney's like, oh, we were listening to Radio Tokyo. They're fuming about about losses from our hit and run tactics. Say if we keep fighting like gorillas, we'll be treated like them. And then I don't know, like these panels, like I love that, like that panel of him drinking. It's like, it's kind of Clark Gable. It's kind of a little Errol Flynn. It's like he has that, leading man kind of, mug, but also, when he's a real asshole. And so he's like, I don't care what the Japanese think, as long as they keep sending over those $500 sitting ducks for me. So he's just laying it pretty heavy. And then next morning they're up at him and says, Wade Jessup playing Byron Shepard. There's no money in this, Stoney, because they're doing an escort for some bombers that are over Burma. So yeah.
I love those middle two panels. Where he's just in the canteen or whatever. Like those are just amazing. And the kid's face in that last one where he's just like womp womp, like, oh god, Wade Jessup.
Fucking Jessup.
So this is, I don't know, is this a milk run? Is the impression I'm supposed to get like this is like a less dangerous mission than the average one? So like
because they're defending, they're not attacking, right?
Right. Okay. So I love this where he's just like, hey, just so there's no trouble, this ain't the kind of action a P-40 is suited for. Oh my god, bandits! That made me laugh really hard.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Oh shit. Okay, so this engagement happens here, and he says they're Nate's Stoney. I don't know any of this stuff. Nakajima K1 21s or whatever. So yeah, they're engaging with them and they're fighting and and he's like, turn back, another flight's hitting the bomb. So they're supposed to be protecting this thing, right? And he just peels off and is like, oh, there's some guys I can go get some bounty for. And he goes off and like, hey, come back. They're attacking our mission. They're attacking that thing. And we love this close up on his goggles, like, but not while a second 500 clams is still in my sights. So any doubts you had that this guy's a complete prick can be dispelled now.
Yeah. Love that goggle shot, though.
That's so good.
It's goddamn, it's cool. So yeah, next page, he gets Wade gets his kill and says, "That's it. Hang on, Stoney. Your rich partner's heading back to lend a hand." That says, but Jessup swings the ship around to find. And he's like, Stoney. And then, too bad, kid. You were a good wingman.
Yep.
And then
Moved on
already. Yeah. He got the
damn
Stoney. But yeah, right after that, it was back to business.
We can't mourn forever, Jacob.
You can't mourn forever. But like you pointed out, he tries to explain this. He's like, but I grew up too hungry to cry over anything on a day when I've made $1,000 zeros. And then, we got the dreaded Japanese zeros bearing down on him there. But yeah, you're right. Like, Ben Stryker and his family, they had a hard time during the Depression too. But, he turned into Ben Stryker. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe Wade had a shitty dad. I don't know. But yeah, he was just like, no, I'm too hungry. And so it's made him a different kind of person. Yeah, depression.
Yeah,
did weird stuff.
Pressure makes different. Has different results. You can make a diamond. You can also make a Wade Jessup.
Yeah,
you never know.
It says under the hammering of two foes, the P-40's superior armor finds its limit. Wade's like, she's breaking up. Time for Uncle Wade to ditch. And he jumps out. Parachutes deployed. He says, and pray those Zeeks get busy with the bombers instead of me. So
are those? Sorry.
No, go on.
Are those stickers on the bottom left? Are those like confirmed like planes he's downed or something?
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Oh, those little Japanese flags. Okay, the yellow.
Yeah, they're little flags.
They're little Japanese flags. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
If they were white, I would have not even thought about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were we gonna say?
Oh, nothing. Just that. Yeah, I love that parachute shot there.
I do too.
It's like cool.
Upside down, backwards. This is just starting to open up. That's a cool shot. Okay, so his plane crashes and his chutes opened up. He's like, yeah, they're back to the fight. I'm home free. So he thinks he's safe because the planes have ignored him now that his plane's gone down. He's like, okay, I'm down in one piece. Got to get rid of my chute. And then he hears people behind him. Hey, he's like, whew, thought for a second you guys were Japanese. What are you, gorillas? Bandits? No matter. Check out the back of my jacket. See, I'm a flying tiger. And then it's like, hey, don't you read? I'm a flying. Entire party of dudes just cut him down. And then we get this great last panel of his dead, lifeless eyes just open, staring towards us. And the guy says, take his jacket along. That will be proof enough. True, and we shall eat well. On the 5,000 yen, the Japanese now offers a bounty for flying tiger pilots. The end.
So this last panel and just this little like twist makes this so much like a Golden Age war comic. Just really? This is classic territory that we're in.
It feels classic, but I haven't read that much Golden Age stuff at all. So, I loved it. I love to see comeuppance, That's why I love EC comics so much, is a good twist and a little bit of comeuppance.
This one felt good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it might have been a little overboard, but what are you going to do? He's a real son of a bitch.
He was.
I like Stoney. I didn't know him well, but I liked him. I'm going to drink to Stoney.
Yeah, I'll drink to Stoney. He got blowed up.
Yeah, he did. Blowed up good. All right. Let's do our shout outs. Do you want to start this time?
Sure. So first we'll talk about that we have a bonus episode that we do every other week for our patrons. This next one that we're going to do is going to be on the Gothic comic. I like that it was called like a mini fad. And it was, so we're going to be talking about Sinister House's Secret Love, number 4. And so our patrons get that. And so this is basically shout outs for those who have subscribed and have been our patrons. There's a couple different tiers of support. The ones that we recommend that you get the most stuff, like our bonus show, like other gated stuff, is the pack members. And so another feature of being a pack member is you get on-air shout outs.
Word.
So those are fine folks like Ben Potter,
Blake, last name withheld,
Brad Elmore,
Brian Steed,
Brian from Marvel by the Month,
Caleb,
Dave Kennedy,
David D,
David Goodwin,
Glenn Lash,
Grace,
Greg Rowland,
James Shegus,
Jared from Swords and Scrolls podcast,
Jason W,
Jeff Fitzpatrick,
Jerry from Buffalo,
Justin the Owl,
Kyle from the Heartland,
Letty,
Matt Harvey,
Michelle from Moonlit Comics,
Pat Svek,
Rob from Marvel by the Month,
Russ from Tomes of Evil,
Sir David,
Tony Iupi,
Tim Tucker,
Worm Drive Pro. Thank you so much to the pack members.
Yes, thank you so much. There is a tier that is actually above that, Jacob. It's a final tier. It's called the Star God tier. And these celestial barbarian deities get even more content exclusive to that tier. And a thank you gift from our Threadless shop after 6 months of membership. That's right, Star Gods get to pick out a coffee mug, travel cup, or t-shirt from the show's shop, and we'll send it right to their mailbox. The hallowed ranks of Star Gods include fine folks like Ben M.,
Bill Eschbach,
Brink,
Eric Hadley,
Jason Finestone,
Jesse McFerrin,
John Walsh,
Josh Link,
MJ,
Mark Nivens,
Melissa Watts,
Michael Giacchino,
Ryan from Across the Bifrost, a Mighty Thor podcast.
And patron of all patrons, Jackson T. Overstreet.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Star Gods. We appreciate your support. I did want to note that I'm including in the link a survey to John Walsh. He's we just said his name. He's been a supporter of the show for a long time, and he does studies around comics, actually, at an academic level. And he wants to do a survey. Wants you to do a survey about binding comic books, the hobby of binding your comics. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know that Jacob and I are interested in this. I've done this for probably 15 years now. So that's where you take your single issue comic books, you send them off to a bindery like Hushen, and then you have them chop the spines off, glue them into something. It can be a simple library thing like what you're seeing on the right here, just no frills. Or you can design your own dust jacket like the big two do and have them print that out and send it back to you all fancified. It's a big part of the comic collecting community, and John Walsh would love you to take a survey if that's something that you are a comics person and you're interested in at all or do. He would love to hear from you, and we'd appreciate if you'd help him out to get some data because, again, he's doing academic studies around the comics medium, which is what we're doing here. So help John out. Go to the description below and do his survey. We'd appreciate that very much. All right, Jacob. So there was a letters column, as there are with many of these things, because by the time they got letters in, it was issue 3, and most of these things did not go past issue 3.
Yep.
So, it was called Send It to Stryker, which I got to say I like.
I like it too.
Name. So I picked just 2 short ones. They were all positive. So
all of them were positive. I was not shocked by that.
Yeah, me neither. Do you want to do? It doesn't matter which one. Whatever one you want to do. Do you want to do the first one or the second one?
Yeah, I'll do the first one.
Okay.
Dear Larry, bravo. Atlas Best Mag to date. Savage Combat Tales. Let me explain by starting from the top. The cover was the most professional job to come out of the House of Atlas. It jumped right off the newsstand into my hand. The art was really good. I'm not familiar with Al McWilliams' work, but judging by the inside pencils and similar cover style, he was the artist, wasn't he? Give a man his credits. Weird that he didn't get a credit.
It is
super
weird.
The backup story Bounty was also a winner. I don't know if Archie is even able to write junk. That's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. He's a real solid, quality producing writer. Hang on to him. And the artist, Jack Cromag Sparling, is a winner too. Love those airplanes, Jack. Good luck, and I hope to be reading Savage Combat Tales for years and years. Ed Shimula from the Bronx. And
sorry.
Yeah, we got an answer there. It says, thanks, Ed. We're looking forward to bringing you Savage Combat Tales for years and years. They knew it wasn't going to be years and years at this point. Yeah, they had an idea,
so?
I think. I don't know. I think the writing was on the wall, but what are you going to say?
Well, this supposedly hit the stand in December. This is still the first wave.
No, letter columns from issue 3.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I was time traveling back to. You're right. My bad.
So he says, thanks, Ed. We're looking forward to bringing you Savage Combat Tale for years and years. You're right about the art. It is by Al McWilliams. He's so modest, he left his name out. Either that or he doesn't want the IRS to know he's working so much. Yeah.
Dear Atlas, Savage Combat Tales #1 was a terrific issue. The introduction of Sergeant Stryker's Death Squad was very well handled. Archie Goodwin has always written excellent stories. I agree. The story explored fully the emotions of the characters more in one issue than others have done in a dozen. The art and story described all the pain and horrors of war as they should be, full of the terrible agony it ultimately brings. A fine point necessary to inspire the hero was the death flashing around him, especially the death of his gal's brother. This loss instills in Ben Stryker the determination which was obviously lacking, changing a pacifist into a war machine. This has been done before, but never so deeply and completely. Bounty was a wise choice for a second story. Archie again scored high in writing a fine story. Jack Sparling's art was somewhat scratchy, but it was sufficient. It had great detail and the airplane shots that made it worthwhile. The ending was different. I enjoyed the mag very much. Nicholas Chencoli? Is that what that says? From Elizabeth, New Jersey? Okay.
Yeah.
So, pretty much raves all around. I think we both agree that everyone even then knew that Archie Goodwin just seems to be able to write anything and do a good job of it, which is cool. Yep. It is weird that Al McWilliams didn't give himself credit in the story that he did all the art for.
Yeah, he did the credit box with Archie.
So weird.
Yeah, very strange.
Did you say he did the lettering too, right?
Yeah, he did the lettering. He literally did it.
Yeah, there's no excuse. I think he was just not paying attention. Okay, so for the rest of the story, there were 2 more issues. I forgot who did the second cover. I think it was like Rich Buckler or something like that. But
yeah, Buckler.
Was it Buckler?
Buckler did that, and then I think Ramiro was the third one.
So yeah, I mean, it's been like a week since I read these, so I don't remember super well. Maybe you can chime in here. I do remember that Alex Toth did the backup in issue 2, but as far as like Sergeant Stryker, I think we were probably most interested in. It's kind of developed, so we get a new foil kind of for Ben. So there's a higher up muckety muck who cusses constantly, and he just wants to get promoted up, bucked up to like general or something like that. So this guy has like realized like, oh, okay, Ben's Death Squad crew here can get me my promotion I want. So I'm going to give them a full pardon and just let them keep fighting as soldiers or whatever. And Ben has some issues with that, right?
Yeah. It's I mean, it's a real guy's general, or when I'm general, it's Wild Bill Wright, I think is his foil. And and that's basically it. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, your Psycho Squad is gonna get me the promotion I need.
Yeah, he's not a good guy.
No, he's not.
Yeah. So there was a full adventure that we get to meet some Nazis. There's a Kill Rommel, I think was one of the mission names.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it was good.
It was good.
I would have read more of this.
Yeah, I think they weren't exactly as super powerful as the first issue was, but both of them were good. I would have read at least 20 issues of this title easy before being like,
Yeah.
Yeah, just the characters, everything about it I love. So yeah, that doesn't change too much. But so the story in the second issue, Warhawk, and that's the one that's by Archie Goodwin and Alex Toth. I think it could have really been cool. Like, just the character of War. I don't know. I think it could have been cool, but yeah, obviously.
Do you think that was a potential like recurring story?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was kind of shocked that in issue 3, it's a story called Dead Man's Ridge by Goodwin and Jack Sparling again. So I thought that that was going to be more of a continuing. I think it should have been. If this book would have been on, I think that Goodwin and Toth doing a story that's reoccurring with their own character, Warhawk, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll say it one more time. I think that poor distribution was probably, I mean, quality was an issue. It's uneven quality in what was put out. The line was too big, obviously, but distribution, I bet, was probably the bigger nail in the coffin than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. So final thoughts.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So, I mean, no shocker after listening to us talk, but I gotta say, I was not expecting this to kind of jump into my top 3, honestly, when I'm doing the ranking. Like, this is immediate top 3 for me. Because I think it's so good. I think Archie Goodwin is such a good writer. I think that this could have just been a throwaway thing. I mean, maybe that was even pitched to Archie too, to where all the guys are just like, just do your work and just, it's fine. But no, he cared so much about this. The writing was amazing. The art was amazing. I would not have believed you if at the beginning of this, they're just like, no, Sergeant Stryker's the shit. You're going to really like that one. I'd just be like, I don't know about that. But I absolutely loved this one. This is immediately one of my favorites, Atlas we've seen yet.
Nice. I was very surprised by this. This was down hovering at the very bottom of things I was interested in reading from this line. So I'm not going to reveal any potential rankings throughout the season. I'm keeping that all very close to my chest. But I was shocked by how good the writing was. When I saw it was Archie Goodwin, I honestly was like, oh shit, this is not this guy's wheelhouse. I didn't know his whole background, his credits. So when I opened this up and read this, I was like, oh, a guy that's not necessarily a war guy writing a war comic, you're going to get a little more human stuff to it. And then I looked up his credits. I was like, oh, he did a lot of war editing. So, yeah, it seemed like a perfect pair, right? And McWilliams' art was gorgeous. I really dug it. Again, this is not my favorite genre of comics by any means, but any genre can tell a good story, right? It just takes good writing and good art. So, yeah, I was bowled over by how much I like this. And like I said, I just got some shit-eating grins, like when Turk's doing his stuff and all the kind of Dirty Dozen music came off my head when they were doing their silly stuff. But really, the Ben Stryker origin story for me was just like over the top good. It was amazingly handled with care and thought. And I was impressed.
Yeah, 12-page story.
Yeah, that's that too, right?
In 12 pages.
Yeah, in 12 pages, right? The economy of the storytelling was just super impressive, and McWilliams' art is sick. So, I'm a big fan. I'm bummed this isn't on archive.org.
Well, and why isn't it? Why isn't this talked about in all those things that people like ranking all the Atlas comics? Like, why is this not up there? That makes no sense to me.
I don't either. Honestly, I'm hoping that somebody out there sees this and goes and checks it out. I mean, we don't necessarily direct people to where to get this. It's not on the usual suspect sites of like, if you Google read so-and-so issue number 1 online free, and there's some usual suspects that come up those sites. It's not on those. Most of the Atlas Seaboard stuff is. This is not. There's a site called Get Comics that has full zips of things, and that's where we got some of the more obscure stuff before we got physical copies from Jackson. Thank you, Jackson. So yeah, I mean, you would have to go to like Get Comics and download the entire Atlas Seaboard line as one big zip, a couple gigs, and pull it out of there. But I recommend it. Yeah, again, I was not holding out much hope for this one. In my mind, this is going to be the bottom of the ranks. But I don't know. I'm surprised. Great. Well, I think we recommend it, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. So next up, we have our friend Brad Elmore coming on. We're very excited to have it. We haven't had him on for a couple of years now. He was one of our first guests. So I can't wait to talk to Brad about this. He picked The Scorpion, which was conceived, written, and illustrated by Howard Chaykin. And this was one of the jewels in the crown. As far as I can tell from reading about Atlas Seaboard anywhere in the comics literature world, this is one of the first 3 titles that people say when they say there was some good stuff. And The Scorpion is always on that list. I believe Chaykin took this character on to Marvel, and is that Dominic Fortune?
It's Dominic Fortune, yeah.
Yeah, so he reworked him for later stuff. I can't wait to read this. I've been excited about this one for years, so I can't wait to dig in. I think this is one of the ones that has the most egregious reworkings after Martin probably looked at issue 1 and said, what the fuck? Why I don't care about the 30s? Why are you telling a story about something, blah, blah? Threw a stack of them across the room and said, make him a superhero, damn it. I think this is like one of the worst cases of that. So I can't wait to read the whole run, but I'm really excited about Howard Chaykin's first story or 2 that he did, where he was very excited about this character and making an adventurer kind of a pulp hero, which is right where I live, man. So can't wait. But first, on the Shadow Show, we are talking about DC's Sinister House of Secret Love number 4, which was the final iteration of that book before it changed its name and became just a straight up horror anthology. I'm excited to do this, Jacob. We love romance, we love gothic romance, we love gothic horror. So this is gonna be a blast.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it features Dzuniga art, and it was written by his wife? Do we know?
His wife.
And with a little help from Mr. Michael Fleischer, right?
Mm-hmm. Dialogue.
Yeah. So, if you want to check out the Shadow Show, that will be episode 116. So if you go to patreon.com/Bronze Age Monsters and sign up to support the show, you can get that one next week and all other 115 and depending on the tier you join, a bunch of extra secret stuff that's just for you. So consider it. All right, so we're on Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky. Just go there and search for Bronze Age Monsters. We'd love to have you follow us. We'd love to follow you back. Again, patreon.com/Bronze Age Monsters is how you get all the bonus cool stuff that we do every other week. And most importantly, please leave a comment on this video. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We'd really appreciate that. If you know somebody who loves comic stuff like this, like we've been talking about, share it with them. That means a lot. Helps a lot too. And also, lastly, please check out that survey we talked about comics binding. If you are interested at all or have any experience in comics binding, that would really help John Walsh out. We'd appreciate that. All right, Jacob. I feel like we got bowled over by a surprise good issue.
Yeah, we did. No, I'll take those surprises any day.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, thanks for joining us this week, everybody. Until next week, stay bronze, funny boy. Stay bronze.